Kia ora. Insomniac's next entry into their Marvel PlayStation universe releases this October. I cannot wait. I've been counting down the days since I 100%ed the game again for like the 5th time. I want to go over some of my favorite LEGO Spider-Man sets, both from past and present-ish. If you enjoy these reviews, liking and subscribing does help to support this channel. And here is the defining LEGO Spider-Man set that for years we all collectively thought just could not be topped. Whether or not it's fair to compare this to the Bugle is entirely up to you. Me personally, nah man, UCS sets just cannot compare to playsets. It's an entire different genre. This is the Spider-Man Web Warriors Ultimate Bridge Battle, which released in 2016 for 200 NZD. It retired at the end of 2017, and I've got a very quick story on how I was able to get this amazing set for an amazing deal. A toy store that I really loved still had it midway through 2018. It might have even been closer to December 2018, and they had it on a clearance of $160. So an NZ $40 saving, that's pretty cool. But for Christmas, they also had this really weird 35% off sale. In the clearance aisle, there was a poster that claimed 35% off, but in every other aisle, there were like 10 stickers per shelf, all saying 35% off. So it was really weird to see one sticker on a big massive clearance aisle. You know what I mean? That should be my red flag. It's because the clearance items obviously weren't part of the deal. Someone had just mistakenly put the 35% off poster up, but nowhere on the poster did it actually say does not include clearance items. So I took the set up to the counter and the nice lady charges me 160 bucks. I go, oh, I thought there was a 35% sale. And she goes, no, not on clearance items, I'm afraid. And I point out, I don't know if the poster actually says that. She ends up taking me over to the clearance aisle, she looks at the poster, she comes back, and she says, well, no, you're right. It does not say on the poster that clearance items don't count, so I will honor that for you. I got the set brand new a year after its retirement from a retailer that I really love for $104. It is now worth somewhere in the $300 price range. The set overview here is immaculate, an incredible bridge display sequence for Spider-Man and his team, along with some desired villains as well. It's pretty daunting actually. I'm not really sure where I'm supposed to begin with something like this, besides the base foundations holding it up, I guess. I don't remember how you actually start the build. I'm assuming you start building from these things, so we'll just start from here. The bridge sits on these two supported structures, which feature their own special features inside. You can see that the bridge uses multiple colored pieces for its build, all hidden underneath. The support structures are very stable actually. I've been frequently moving this set around for many years for regular display purposes, and it's never broken on me once. I show here that the ground plane is actually just a simple plate. The side structures give the illusion that it's a lot thicker in its build, but the ground is simply just a thin plate with some hefty foundations set alongside it. So make sure you don't grab this section when you're trying to move the set around. Underneath we have some really great sticker designs that help flesh out the world building. We have a Spider-Man image that's been spray painted on the wall from probably a fan, a love heart with the initials of Peter and Gwen. Keep in mind though, no Gwen minifigure ever released with these sets, and I'm not too sure what that other insignia there means. The other side has a Scorpion wanted poster and some confusing messaging. The other column features a wanted poster of Green Goblin, a Daily Bugle newspaper print, and some comic styled wording. And the other side of this column features another issue of the Bugle, now featuring Kraven, and some more confusing wording to add to the Scarlet Spider mystery. So now I'll show you the inside of these sections. The front section here is nothing major just yet, but stick around though. It's two webs that seal both exits and a camera that's been attached to one of them. This is one of Peter's traps for the villains. The other column features a wall that has some studs for webs on top there. Any of the Spideys can pull it off, and inside we find Kraven's little den. From this side we get access to his stash of diamonds hidden in a crate. I don't really know why Kraven of all people is robbing diamonds. Maybe he's planning on selling them to someone for information or something. On the other side of the den we have access to something that's a bit more fitting for Kraven. He has a ladder here for quickly climbing to the top of the bridge, and he has a tracker inside next to a weapon rack. The other column, as I mentioned, doesn't actually have anything inside besides the webs. That's because it's just a trap for our villains. Peter doesn't want to give them anything to do. Moving on to the actual bridge itself, the end section here features a launcher which can be used for figures or for the trash can, I don't know, it's up to you. I personally always apply all of my parts to the set because I move sets around quite a lot, so keeping the trash can loosey-goosey probably would be a disaster for me, so I actually just have it permanently connected to the set rather than setting it to the side. There are also these two bridge direction signs up top that appear to be connected, but they are actually built separately. They can split right down the middle here, so you can have Green Goblin fly straight through them, which is pretty cool. Just take a moment to appreciate all of the crack designs here for the bridge. I think it's executed really well, and it looks as though it's actually been removed from its foundations. Before getting into the really cool design of the bridge ground plane, there is a trapdoor located here as well that sits directly above Peter's trap. You can send the villains down and they can be captured, but Kraven at this time wasn't cooperating with me during filming. The tarmac design is a favourite of mine for LEGO Spider-Man in general. The set uses some really nice stickers to emphasise the destruction of this build. It's a great long runway with plenty of room for multiple figures to be included. I would know, I've had plenty of superheroes displayed on here over the years. It leads up to the cables, which are designed in a really nice sturdy way that will hold their shape and allow for figures to balance on them. For characters as dynamic as Spider-Man, you really couldn't ask for anything better than this. I love the shaping that they make, and I think that this is what really sells the set for some people. Up top we have some more webbing, and you will have noticed that there are these sections with studs on the walls. It's a technique that was borrowed from the Prince of Persia line, where the figures are able to be shown as wall running or wall crawling, or interacting in your own way for your displays. These are traffic signals which can come out and warn people that some crazy shit's been going down on the Spidey Bridge. They have an easy to use switch at the back here, and if you push on the other side, the traffic signals can actually completely destroy the walls. This can be achieved on both sides of the build. The walls are two individual parts that can be built and slotted into place easily. My favourite feature, and I think many's favourite, is that the bridge wall can actually open up to feature some hazard play. It's really easy, it just slides out and it can reveal a spider web underneath, which is to stop people from falling through the gap. Demonstrated here by the taxi cab, which can be saved from falling since the web has been formed to prevent the cab from hitting the ocean. Looks great when it's displayed right. The taxi cab is a great inclusion for a Manhattan-based bridge set. Now I can be a hypocrite when it comes to little added extras like this, definitely, but the bridge build is already so substantial, I don't really mind paying a bit extra for parts to be used on a taxi cab like this. I really love the build, but I do have some complaints, the biggest being that it's way too small because it can only fit one minifigure. In this case, Aunt May, it breaks my suspension of disbelief if she's the one that's been employed as a cabbie. I wish we got another cab driver minifigure, or the cab was just a regular car for me instead. The back of the bridge here features these smaller versions of the cables. It is not a fully formed bridge, in hopes that you maybe go and buy a second one which can kind of connect onto the back here. There's a 1962 sticker to signify the creation of Spider-Man. Up top are the last sections of the build here. We have a bird's nest and some eggs. Some people say that it's a perch for Vulture, possibly, though I'd say if it is, then he's taking the role a bit too seriously at that point. The key feature here is the Goblin flag, which when pressed down drops a netted web on Spideys. You just need to cram the net up in that little section there. It's a little tricky sometimes, the net refuses a lot of the time, so I just have to kind of leave it. The final feature here is a pole, and you can use it to push a figure off the bridge. A villain can either leap down into action or a hero, it's entirely up to you. Here is the Spider-Man figure. He has been covered before on this channel, a couple of times in fact, so we'll keep this a little brief. It's a really cool figure that I am fond of. He was just overused, releasing in way too many sets. This one, however, features a really special accessory, this awesome web that only appeared in the 2016 sets. It is a full plastic and it looks like he's forming a web cage around someone. You get more than one in this set as well. How good? This is the Spider-Girl figure, who remained exclusive, but there is a black and white suited version from a set a little bit later on down the line. This design is based on Jessica Drew in her Ultimate Spider-Man Woman design. I don't know why she's named Spider-Girl here, and not Spider-Woman, but anyway. I don't know anything else about her, and from researching, it seems as though this design is rather niche in comparison to her more well-known costume designs. The figure is simple, but executed really nicely. No printing on the arms or the legs, but it does seem to match the source material very well for accuracy, so, you know, we'll let it slide. Her head will be reused in this very set though, which is a bummer, but it's always interesting to get a Spider-Man with hair. This is the Scarlet Spider Ben Reilly, who made his first debut in movies this year actually. I do really like this figure and this costume. I was only really familiar with this because of the PS4 game though. Remember, I bought the set actually after the PS4 game released. His blue sweatshirt is a really cool take for the character, and the blue hoodie piece immediately makes him stand out compared to Spider-Man and Spider-Girl. The reuse of the face though is a bummer, especially since Scarlet Spider seems to be very dynamic in comics, but he also has some really cool arm printing of those 90s web shooters wristbands. Looks great. He is also a loved figure and character, clearly, because he is currently listed at being valued at over 100 NZD. That's shocking. And now it's time for some of the heavier hitters, the best minifigures in the entire line for my money. This is Scorpion, who at the time was an exclusive minifigure. Not only would he be re-released in a junior set of all sets, but he also had a remake in that Mighty Micros line. He's been MIA ever since that release. He's insane to me. The backpack piece is one whole piece that's just made especially for him, and it attaches onto a neck brace. There is a Lego claw piece for the stinger. I love those details and the expression about him as well. There are some final accessories here that I want to go over now because they interact with Scorpion, at least on the box and according to the instructions. It's a little police quad bike that's possibly used for Captain Stacy, who released in the Doc Ock set. Here it can actually split apart and it can now be held by a minifigure and used as a melee weapon. The set shows Scorpion using it in that purpose. I really love that inclusion, and Scorpion can stand pretty well with it. Here is Kraven the Hunter. To this day, Kraven has remained exclusive. Kraven is about to take the spotlight in being the new antagonist for the game. He also has a brand new movie that's coming out that was recently delayed, so I'm expecting that people will start demanding for a brand new variant of Kraven, and I do think it's only fair. It's been plenty of time. Because the figure is apparently worth 65 NZD. He's a pretty big key player for Spider-Man. He should be available in more sets personally. He uses that Vincent D'Onofrio face, and he uses that slick hairpiece that would become a nuisance later on down the line. He is equipped with a rifle here, a funky design made of some random parts that I actually really love. I love when Lego do brick-built guns. Nice design for that fur coat as well. And one of my favorite all-time minifigures here, this is Green Goblin, who comes included with a glider and a pumpkin bomb. The colors immediately shine on this figure, and I think that the glider is a really well-designed build as well. It's a simple design that feels very similar to the brick-built Vulture Falcon wings, but it makes more sense for it to be here and oversized rather than on those guys. Green Goblin comes with a dark purple Indiana Jones bag and a pumpkin bomb here, which is the Ghost Rider headpiece but as a pumpkin. That flame piece is not removable. Double-sided face as well of an even better expression. This Green Goblin just feels like he's been ripped from the ideal comic setting. I've not been a fan of Lego's modern Green Goblin figures, if I'm completely honest with you. This is definitely the best one. The set also includes these flame pieces here, which I assume are for Green Goblin to be flying around and hurling bombs. I usually just have them displayed on the set like so. The final figure now is the Aunt May figure, who has had more comic-based figures released of herself than Mary Jane or Gwen Stacy. Insane. All Aunt May figures seem to go for pretty cheap besides the movie one. She's nice, she's pretty simple, she's got the old lady hair in a bun, and she wears some dainty gloves. She has a simple expression and she also has a scared look, and I do like the blue colors that are used for her, but otherwise it's just an okay inclusion. That is my look at the LEGO Spider-Man Web Warriors Ultimate Bridge Battle. Not only does this playset make for an amazing display model for a perfect Spider-Man diorama, but it also features enough interactive elements for everyone to enjoy that it cements itself as one of the best display models and best play models that LEGO have ever made. It's so well designed, it's sturdy, it's compact, it offers plenty, and the figure selection is a complete knockout. 3 heroes, 3 villains, and a civilian as well. It is a gold standard for the LEGO Superheroes line for me, and still, nothing has quite compared to this as far as playsets go for this line. If you enjoyed this retrospective look at an old LEGO Spider-Man set, liking and subscribing does help to support this channel in making more videos like this. Ka kite anō.